Alright. So in my packet, I give you guys our monthly reports. We had 44 calls last month. Picking back up again. Also in that packet, I also give you guys our incident action plan for the festival. If you guys wanna look that over.
Have you done this in the past?
Yes.
Okay, I just never remember it.
Yeah, he's done it every year.
It's actually mandated by NIM, is it still NIMS?
Yes.
Okay.
So also with that, just so everybody knows, I already had to ask to have NOAA weather already give us the updates for that weekend, so I will be getting notified if there's any bad weather or anything, so.
Okay.
I was talking to Lee Greenmeyer from the County Emergency Management on that. Also in your packets, there is an active shooter information. We are gonna be doing that next week. I believe it's the 15th.
Tuesday the 15th?
Yes. So if you guys would like to go, there is gonna be some other county officials there just to observe and see what's going on. So if you guys would like to go, please let me know. I'll meet with you guys and we can go up. I would like to get the 3 trucks up to Bill's to get serviced. So command 10, 11, and 12 up there, get them serviced. To save money this year, if you guys want, we can actually not do the DOT inspection. But I'm gonna leave that ball in your hands there.
Which trucks again, I'm sorry?
10, 11, and 12, sorry, rescue and engine.
Is the DOT mandated?
It is not mandated, we've always done it just to cover our butts. They also go through at that time, grease everything, check the brakes, tires.
As opposed to just doing fluid changes?
Right.
What's the price difference?
That I'm not 100% sure off the top of my
I
head.
mean, I think you got it up there, you might as well have it looked at. That's my thought, is just do the last thing you wanna do is be involved in a suit and then bring that up.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we tried to save $50 and we didn't do a inspection, whatever it is, right? I just say do it, my thought,
Yeah.
as long as we have money, so.
Right. And then one other thing, I've been letting Chris use our one brush truck to drive around and help run, do command stuff, because I was out for a couple days. I was just wondering if we could continue to do that, allow him to do that. He would take a week on calls, that way I could have a week off, and also the weekend.
So like, would that be in the evenings, in the
Yeah,
weekends?
he would be on call in the evenings, and then on the weekend, I would have a night off, or a weekend off, and vice versa.
Come on, Dave, 24/7, it's your expectation.
We're close.
I don't have an issue with it,
And that's it's the red one, right? Is that
No,
what-
it's a black.
Black. Oh, okay, the other one then, okay.
I see him sit down at his house. I don't have an issue, I think that rotation would be healthy for you and healthy for probably him as well. Does his schedule allow, I know he's got a lot going on with other jobs, does his schedule allow him to cover that?
If there would be those issues, I mean, that's something me and him can work out.
Okay. So you're basically trying to make sure that you have a chief on call in town most of the time?
Yes.
I don't have any issues with that. So then would it be just an in-town use, or would it be just during the weekend, if he's gotta run Angola, he's taking it? Is that, what are you thinking?
Well, obviously, it's already a brush truck, so we would also use it for that reason, so. I don't see it going extremely far.
He's not running
No.
too long far. I don't have an issue with it. We allow some of the other employees to use. Bob, what's your thought?
I'm okay with it.
And then the last thing is, Also in their package that I passed out was the insurance information that we've been working through. And I invited Chris to come and help answer any questions with that.
Right, and I do have you on the agenda for the council meeting,
Okay.
so that way, if there is any questions, we can go into that, that's okay.
Wait.
So that's all I have unless there's any questions or comments.
I don't have anything. How did your, meeting today go? Did they show up?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I was wondering which meeting he was talking about.
Sorry.
That
Meeting
one
that
at
I
4
called you
o'clock too.
about?
How about the truck?
So,
$100,000 question.
last update, as of this morning, it's getting finished up with LED lighting. So we should know something by this weekend, hopefully.
Just some unforeseen delays or just?
Some unforeseen delays as far as I know.
And they're doing all the stickering, right?
They are
That's
doing
what I
all
know.
the stickering and everything, so.
Okay.
He told me we should know something by this weekend.
Okay.
I was honestly really hoping to have it here by the 4th of July weekend.
We'll shoot for August 22nd.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I don't have anything else for David.
I don't have anything.
All right, thank you.
Moving on to the police department, Scott.
Alright. I have one purchase order. I wanna send Holden to an AR armors class. It's in, Greenwood, Indiana. It's $550. It's a two-day class.
Okay.
So I'll have to get him a hotel room, but that should fall underneath our spending limits as far as that goes, but
Okay.
it's something that we need, and he has an interest, so he found the class. I told him, yeah, I have no problem with it, so I presented to the council.
Push for $550.
Second that.
Thank you.
I'll concur.
Question, if he's interested in that, if he's think about sending him to the lock school?
Yes, yep, that's gonna be coming up next for him, and then the shotgun armorer's course too.
Okay.
There was actually a shotgun armorer's course at the same time this is going on, but I didn't wanna send him for a whole week at a time, so I wanna break it up in little chunks and then send him, so then I've been through the Glock one, but he wants to go through it, and I have no problem with that. We had another incident in the month of June where Benton County didn't want to come down and take a call. It was a report of a burglary, and we didn't have anybody working. Holden came on 2 hours later. They gave him the call, and he went there. And I have his body camera video from the. I thought about bringing it and playing it tonight, but I decided not to. But if you guys are interested in seeing his body camera video of him getting screamed at from these people who were mad because this call got put on hold and they weren't happy about it. So, and they had a valid point. So, and I don't know what the solution is to it. I talked to the sheriff, I talked to the chief deputy, and all I get from them is that's your town. So, it is what it is. We don't have that problem with DeKalb County, but we do with Benton County, and it just seems to get worse. I did send that video to the sheriff and the chief deputy and said, this is what I'm dealing with, what's going on. And my response that I got was, well, thank you for bringing it to our attention. When did this happen? And then I never heard another word, and that was 2 weeks ago. So, it's clear that for them, everything is about money. Everything is about money. And they get no money from us, and the answer I get from them is, why should we take a call in Hudson for you? Hudson pays you to be there. So why should we take a call in Hudson for you? And I'm powerless. I can talk to them until I'm blue in the face and I get nowhere, so.
In your defense too, Scott, they refused. They showed up like a half hour late for a call out around 800 and 700, which is, that's.
So let me ask you this, and maybe it doesn't pertain to this specific incident, but if one of you guys are on a call requesting backup, do they come?
Yeah, typically, if it's an urgent call, they will come. They will come.
So they'll come to back you up, but they just don't want to handle the cleanup or the call on their own.
Exactly, yes.
So they
Which
don't
at
think
least-
that a burglary is urgent?
Yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, we know exactly what you want.
So
or what are you talking about?
But yeah, I mean, if it's something, if there's a fight in progress or something, usually they will come. I don't know, I gave you this example once before, I think, of Shane was sent to a trailer in the trailer park in Hudson, of like a 13-year-old kid chasing his mom around with a knife, trying to stab her and kill her. And I happened to have my radio on and I heard it. He acknowledged when en route, Steuben County had 3 deputies on duty, none of them were busy doing anything. And no one came on the radio and said, I'm en route down there, so I jumped in my truck and went over and helped them, because they didn't even come. And then I questioned them about that, I didn't even get an answer about it.
Okay. So even as a backup to you or to our officers, it's probably not reliable.
Yeah, probably not. Holden tells me that, at night, it's a little different at night, it's usually younger kids and they have like a quick bond going on. And he tells me that there's, he'll get a call and one of the deputies will come on the radio saying that he's gonna come down here to help. And his supervisor will tell him, no, negative, disregard. So, I don't get it, I don't understand, but, it's like I said, my ultimate point in this whole thing is we're getting to the point where we do need another police officer.
I agree with you 100%. I wish I could just
Yeah, I know.
make it happen, but, okay.
And then, the last thing, we're getting to the point soon where, we'll figure out what we need to do to put that Crown Vic up for sale and get rid of it. The town has that van that sits out at the sewer plant that nobody uses. Do you wanna put that?
Yes.
I was gonna ask about that too. I noticed that was sitting out there, so.
Is that the same van I see?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's way beyond its prime now.
Holy crap, I mean, I was using that when I was still in the fire department.
Mhm.
But a long time ago.
It's just sitting out there and they're mowing around it and stuff, so maybe it's time to just put that up. Get rid of it. But that's your call.
Well, that was a freebie, so if somebody
Yeah.
wants to tear it apart, chop it up,
Yeah.
take it to scrap,
Does it even run?
Yeah, it's this, I think it's transmission leaks into the coolant and stuff, and we have it like that, but we don't wanna put a whole lot of money into it.
Okay. I guess the decision needs to be made, do we wanna put it up for auction, or do we just declare it as zero value and scrap it?
I would go zero value and scrap it, cause we had no money. I got that for free. That was a seizure from a theft.
Yeah, we've had police officers drive it back and forth to the academy and everything, but it's just time.
Okay.
Well, with that being said, can I have it for September for application?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'll work.
October, sorry.
It's already there, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
I would be going to.
You want that old trailer that sits back here in the field too?
Get rid of that.
Anybody know what that's
What was
even
the
there for?
intentions of that?
That was our fire training trailer, but yeah, it's falling apart. We just need to get rid of it. I'll get that out of there.
I would love to see that go away.
Me too.
And so would my mother. She's the one that can see it, but.
I have nothing else.
Okay, thanks, Scott.
I don't have anything.
I'm good.
All right, moving on. Sorry, I lost my agenda. What did I do with it? All right, what's next on the agenda? Parks, I'm sorry, building. What did I do with that?
We had Springer come work on the air conditioner unit for us. And the F-550, I got a quote as I walked in tonight on one of them. I got 2 quotes, one from Blockwoods for sandblasting and one for, Blockwoods one, and then another one sandblasting. And I had a chance to make a few more up there.
That's less than what we thought it was gonna be, wasn't it? Or is it
That's right around.
right around, I can't remember what we talked
I
about.
thought it might be a little bit more, but.
So the patch repair is $200 or $2,000. I wish it was $200. Apologize. And complete finish, sandblast and marine coat is $2,400. And I stopped and looked at it. It definitely needs the attention. I think it's still a good enough truck to money to fix, but. Do we have the money to do it?
You said how much?
44 total.
44? We should be okay.
Is that owned by the street department? Is that what that truck?
I think it's owned by the water department.
Oh, it is from the water department?
Double check.
Yeah, we have to look on the capital
Think,
asset.
but the water department bought it.
Okay, well then that gives it a little
But-
different,
A little different
Yeah.
perspective.
Double check that.
I will definitely, either way, it should be okay. It should be.
Is that a motion for the repairs on the 550?
I make a motion to go ahead with the repairs for the F-550.
I second that.
No, sure. You can get that PO and I'll sign it.
So, for which one, I'm sorry? Is it?
It's both together.
Oh, both together,
You need a
okay.
separate PO for each?
No, just.
Well, no, we'll have to be separate, because it's two
Separate.
different businesses.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it'll be
but either,
it's on two
It's
either
a
way,
total of 4,400.
$4,400
Okay.
total.
It'll be a lot easier than.
Okay,
subcontract
thank you.
and all that.
And then Bobby's first,
Mm-hmm.
and then Brett, okay, thank you.
And another question I had is, what you wanna do with that playground out there?
Oh my gosh,
The
what a
plastic
mess.
one?
Yeah, all the fences are like 5 different pins in there.
Oh, right out here,
And
sorry.
take some of the fences down, or you're
They
gonna.
made a mess of it, like, I didn't think they were gonna,
They hired a lawn crew to come in, fill in the ruts and reseeded it, they did that, but the rest of it, they just scooped up as much mulch as they could and, well,
what a. Not real thrilled about that, but, what's your thoughts? I mean, do we just put it back to grass and,
the ones to the south, I'd put back to grass. The other one, that the original playground, it's already cut out for the mulch, and you don't put anything in, you have to fill in with dirt, and it's gonna take quite a bit.
either way, we gotta buy something for it, right? We either gotta buy mulch to put in there, or we gotta buy
Dirt,
stone, or,
man, it's,
Yeah, me and
why don't you get some, I don't know, what would it take to, if we're gonna fill it in, you almost just fill it in with dirt and
yeah.
pull those, there's timbers around these perimeters, is there, or is it just cut out?
Plastic around the original playground.
The other
Nice
two, the
thing.
south ones wouldn't be too hard to get back to grass, but yeah, that south one, probably easier to just put some mulch in there for now, and then if you wanna put some playground stuff in there, eventually you could.
I mean, we have the mulch, don't we?
If we use wood mulch, I don't know what we got up there. We go down to rubber. Rubber's what was in there before.
I don't know if I'd wanna spend the money to put rubber in there, that'd be pretty pricey. Even if we gotta go get a load of mulch, I don't know, you guys tell us.
Prices on
Yeah, if you wanna work up, try to figure out what it's gonna take, and if we can put the rest of it back to grass. If, I'm fine with the fences coming down, I don't think there's any, if it's just grass, there's no sense in having it fenced off. I don't know if any of it's salvageable, but, you see it's all pieced together, right?
that. At least take down some of the interior fences, it makes it a lot easier to mow. Perimeter fence isn't a big deal, but you got like 5 different little areas that are all oddly shaped.
Is there any more? Well,
That's why I give you something to think about.
yeah, trust me, I'm not thrilled that I figured they pulled the playground equipment, I didn't think they were gonna mulch and everything, holy cow. It seems like they should have left it the way they found it, if they were that hell-bent on taking everything that they put in, they should put it back the way they started. I don't know, maybe we can send them a letter and force them to. Don, you wanna interject? I know you probably don't, they took all the, so they, the lighthouse took donated all the playground equipment, they come in and took all that, took all the mulch, and just left it a mess.
Well, not only did they leave that a mess, they left the building.
Oh,
a
I
mess.
understand that, but,
Still,
I guess, my thought process is, do we have any grounds to hold them accountable to put it back to the way it was?
I'll have to review the lease, but, thinking the mulch is a little too much. Playground equipment, I understand.
Yeah.
It was theirs, they can give it to them whenever they wanted to, but I'll check the lease.
Okay.
Okay.
I was flabbergasted that they took it, I mean, just the plastic underneath or the fabric underneath the mulch is just kind of crinkled up and left there, and yeah, like I said, it's a mess, so.
I assume there, if I recall, there's a clause that say I have to return the premises in the same or similar condition, reasonable wear and tear accepted, so.
Okay. I mean, to me, reasonable wear and tear would have been leave the mulch there
Yeah,
and just take the playground equipment and move on with life, but I guess if it was rubber, that's probably why they wanted it.
Yeah.
So. Okay, anything else?
No, sorry about
Thank you, Dave. We got street department.
Okay, don't have a whole lot in the streets, just regular maintenance stuff. In collection of wastewater treatment. I talked to McAllister's today on that motor for the main, lift station generator. Les said the motor came in last week, they're just swamped with work right now, so I'm waiting on them to get us on their schedule. We had to, pull and, well, I'd replace a capacitor at the manor, and then we had to pull the pump out the manor. I got a quote for a WG-30 pump and rings, because we have 4 of those. That's gonna be the worst one. For a Myers WG-30 pump is $8,500. Then I wanted to order 2 impellers and 2 shredding rings, because that's usually what wears on the WG-30s. Those are $625 a piece. So that brings us a grand total of $11,000 for Indiana pump orders. Right now, the Manor's only got 1 pump in it, so.
Make a motion for 11,000 for Indiana Pump Works.
I'll second that.
The other thing I have, this is actually streets. I got my tree list around for cutting down trees this year. We're doing 6 trees, broke down on here. Be 11,800. We had 15,000 budgeted for tree removal this year, but I got a list I'm gonna have to look at and take out the
Assuming the S&S property goes through, I'd like to see that tree
Yeah.
on the list as quick as we can get it.
I can call that one wasn't too hard, so I can call Jeff.
Doesn't look bad when it's got leaves on it, but
Yeah.
stump doesn't look the best.
When we take, like, when we get rid of these trees, are we replanting?
When I have a chance to, if I have enough money left over in the tree budget, I'll buy a few trees here and there. We have in the last couple of years. I don't know if we're gonna get any this year, because usually I order those in the spring. So, hopefully we're getting caught up again, so I can order some next spring.
Okay, perfect.
Motion for,
I make a motion for 11,800 for you guys.
I'll second that.
for,
And the last thing I have is, we qualify for the municipal trade-in through Bobcat, the S66, our newest Bobcat. We just hit the 2-year mark, so we're, due for trade-in. A new one would cost $62,000. We can get a new one for $2,000, and it starts the warranty over for 2 years. And the tires are like $1,000.
Yeah, I know what the tire's about to do it.
It's a no-brainer.
I make a motion for $2,000 for Bobcat.
I'll second that.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Heck of a program. Utilities.
You've got my report. And then I also have, I had Bloodhound come out there to Wesley, and they located the sewer and water lines out there. Now I need to have Badger come in and back out, so we put valves in those lines on the water lines. And for Badger to come in and back all that out, it's $3,574.65.
That's through Badger.
Yes.
I make a motion for $3,574.65 to Badger.
I'll second that.
Sign that. Sign it now. Fill it all in. The other thing is we got a construction meeting tomorrow with McGuire. And we're gonna determine on when we can build a tower out there. It's either gonna be sometime later on this week or maybe over the weekend. I'd like to get it done and over with. It's dragging out.
Paint looks better though.
It does, I do agree.
Much better.
They've gotta come in and do a lot more touch up on it before we can build it. That's the only problem.
Okay.
I'm trying to get them back here to do that. It's becoming a real headache.
Okay.
No, it does. They've done a good job on doing the update on it, so. That's all I have.
Anything else for,
So Kevin will be good to sign everything.
No,
Are you signing that?
I really don't want to. I've got 4 departments now. I don't want to take over a 5th. Kevin cannot sign the WT.
how, and I know I've asked, but how long again before he's ready to,
January before he can take the test.
is he ready for the test?
He had studied for it yet. He just took his DS. He found he did pass that. He told me yesterday that he did pass that.
Do you feel he's ready for it?
He can't, he wouldn't be eligible. You have to have
So he's not
2
eligible at
years.
all till
till January.
Of 2026?
Yes.
Roger, you have to have an outside firm come in and sign them,
What they wanna do, they wanna, I don't know, it's up to the council and what they wanna do, right?
Michael, I can get you a card for, Micah.
I'm sorry?
Get you a card for an individual that does the water treatment, I think he does it for a couple of towns.
I know who we talked to before. I didn't think that for what they were, I mean, he was expensive, don't get me wrong, but for temporary, it might be an option.
Just realize when you get an outside firm to come in, all they do is sign that report. They do not do anything else.
They talked to Butler, because they had a temporary person for a while.
Okay.
Correct, but as I stated, all they did, cause I know what you're talking about, but yes, that's all they did. They signed the report. Cause I helped them out.
We can work on that.
Got some thoughts to make sure I'm informed before I wrap them up. Anything else for utilities?
I'm done.
I'm good.
Clerk, Peggy, anything for us?
I make a motion to adjourn the department head meeting.
I second that.
I'll concur. So want to break or want to go straight into,
I'm fine, just going straight into it.
alright? We'll call the July Ashley Town Council meeting to order. You guys, for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, I just screwed that up because we went straight to the council instead of the plan. We're gonna do that later.
It's your
Well, all right,
decision.
let's just get through this. Minutes to be approved as distributed.
It's the very front page and the back page. I didn't mark it, but it's the front and back page.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as distributed.
I second that.
No, concur. Approval of financial and bank reconciliation reports.
I make a motion for the approval of the bank and reconciliation reports.
I'll second that.
And I'll concur. Just throw it on the file. Those are POs, put those on the bottom. All together. Approval of accounts payable register.
I make a motion for the approval of the accounts payable register.
I'll second that.
And I'll concur. Ordinances, resolutions, ordinance number 3, establishing a fire equipment replacement fund.
Our notice said we have a hearing, public hearing at 7, so you'll have to
We'll come back to it.
come back.
Okay, alright, we'll skip that.
So,
Sorry, I kinda jumped the gun, I forgot about the other meeting we're supposed to have, so I started this. Resolution number 4, declaring an official intent to reimburse expenditures.
Do you want me to give a little overview on that?
Sure.
This is a pretty standard procedure when on the front end of a large construction project and you need funds to get the design engineering ready and filed with, get the bidding documents prepared. We are in line for SRF. It looks like we'll get pool funding. We missed and Casey Irwin from PLC is here too, who's been doing a lot of the heavy lifting on obviously getting the preliminary engineering report filed and approved and so on. We've been both kind of working both ends of the stick, trying to get attention to get on their project priority list in the fundable range for their program funds. The program funds would get a lower interest rate, but it also has a shorter term in which to pay it back. We're about 6 rungs down the ladder from qualifying for any of their program funds, but they do pool programs twice a year. I think we've been at this since before COVID even.
Yeah, you've been on the project priority list, I think, for at least 3 years. Having to reapply and get into the project or into the fundable range, and we're closer, but we're still, I think there's the top 8 or 10, I think we're 7 or 8 below that.
7 or 8 below the fund, where the line is right now. Now, if
some of the people in front of you cannot be ready to bid and close by next spring, some of those funds in the fundable range, SRF will start making calls in July and say, can you close? And if they say no, they keep going down the list. So.
There is hope that there are ones ahead of us that can't get it together, and it's interesting, and we'll go through our rate study report here in a little bit, but it's interesting that the 20-year program rates come out about the same as the 30-year pool program rates. We could go up to 35 years, but the bang for the buck in terms of buying down the rate impact from going to 20 to 30 is pretty significant. From going to 30 to 35 doesn't really save you that much, and you're just paying them, 5 more years of interest. And those interest rates are at a more market rate, which right now we're assuming about 4.5% in our financing model, but it's probably a little bit less than that right now. And hopefully, it looks like we won't be ready in a closing situation until closer to December.
Correct.
So if miracles happen and rates come down, it'll be the market rate, within 30 days of our closing that they'll use. So, well, hopefully rates don't go up. I think there's a lot of pressure on the feds to lower rates right now, which doesn't always have a direct impact on the bond market, but there is a relationship there. If rates start coming down, we'll see that through, and both programs are subsidized with federal funds, so that's good and bad. It helps get the interest rate below market a little bit, but you got to jump through a lot of hoops, which Casey's been doing a lot of that jumping through the PER phase, and we'll be doing that through the financing phase. But getting back to how that ties into the reimbursement resolution, it allows you to make project expenditures up front that can then be reimbursed when you do your closing on your bond, on your long-term bond issue. So it's a formality that it's a CYA type of situation. We just want to have all those ducks in a row so that we don't have problems when getting that money back. And I think our intent is to, typically we call these bond anticipation notes, but I think our intent here is really to do a temporary loan from the redevelopment commission and then pay them back with the bond proceeds at closing. That's sort of what's on the table right now, and I think the target number is $600,000. The range of project costs we're looking at is between $8 million and $16 million. If we did everything that really should be done and would be in the best scenario, that's $15 or $16 million. But if we're not successful in getting any grant funding, if we get in the fundable range and there's grant funds available, obviously we want to gobble up as much as that as we can. They used to not really pay that much attention to median household income. It was more rate driven, but it's just gotten so competitive with, that the MHI, and it's a good problem to have that you've got a high MHI in Ashley and even Hudson. And were you able to check that, Brandon? Okay.
I'll check it right now. I wasn't right now.
I think Hudson's MHI was really, I think as I recall, it was even a little higher than Ashley's MHI.
What that is your median household income, which
Yeah,
is good.
sorry,
Everybody makes more money, but it's bad because if you make less, you're more apt to get money from SRF.
We get fewer points on the project priority list for the program funds. But at any rate, I kind of went on and on here, but that's the reason that the reimbursement resolution is being presented tonight. And it's a very standard step in financing a large project.
Must be read by title.
You Yeah, it's just an agreement, it's not a resolution. It is a resolution, but you can read it by title only, by your rules.
Which is a resolution, number 4, resolution declaring official intent to reimburse expenditures.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 4, declaring an official intent to reimburse expenditures.
I'll second that.
Going to resolution number 5, RDC approving the temporary use of tax increment revenues for a portion of the cost of the sewer works project in the town of Ashley. That's okay.
That's what you just did. You got another one. Okay, this one.
Yeah, it's number 5. So resolution number 5 is, as I said, a resolution of the Ashley resolution of the Ashley Redevelopment Commission approving temporary use of tax increment revenues for a portion of the cost of sewage. This needs to be done by the Redevelopment Commission, correct? Not us? Okay. So scratch that. We'll go back to that.
That's another day, correct?
No, that's tonight.
That's later, yeah, that's after.
That is
this.
after this.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be before this and I screwed up.
Okay.
Got the wrong meeting.
So
Started.
7 PM again?
Well, we'll get back there. Okay, we're not quite to 7. So, any updates on the S&S battery?
Yes, I contacted the court to issue the order, or sign the order I presented yesterday. Got a call today from the clerk. It's going to the auditor's office, should have it this week, the deed this week.
Okay.
I've been looking at that.
I know, I'm like, I can't wait. So, yeah, just so we know, once we have that deed, that building needs to be secured, so we don't have any liability issues, so.
Okay, I'll contact Peggy.
Okay. All right, I appreciate that. And then I'll also, once I know that, I'll start the process with Chad on getting that, environmental cleanup done. New business, approval for Fairfield Fire Agreement 2026.
I make a motion to approve for the Fairfield Fire Agreement for 2026.
I second that.
One is our copy, the other one is, I have to send back, so there's 2 copies.
To sign. And I concur.
Same amount, nothing has changed.
It is 7 o'clock. We want to jump back up to the ordinance number 3, establishing fire equipment replacement funds. We do the public hearing.
Well, we have to close the,
No, you're okay. It's during the regular meeting. You wanna open the hearing for the,
I'll open a public hearing for establishment of the fire equipment replacement fund. Any comments?
so everyone knows it's a .033 per 100 of assessed valuation. And I met with, talked on the phone with the fire chief. That's what he recommended, and that's what I've been seeing around in other towns, cities, that that's the rate that's being used to establish the fund, or reestablish the fund in some instances. If there's no comments, then you can close the public hearing and proceed to vote on the ordinance on first reading. That's just the notice with it.
Last chance, anybody? All right, we'll close the public hearing for the establishment of the fire equipment replacement fund. Have a motion?
Yep, I make a motion to approve ordinance number 3, establishing the fire equipment replacement fund.
I second that.
And I'll concur. And we'll do the second reading. We have to do second reading next month then.
You have to do second reading next month. I don't have your budget, you don't have to submit it yet. So
So do I sign this after we do the second reading then? Yes.
That's just the
Oh,
notice of
this
the
notice,
paper.
okay, okay.
I want to
Sorry.
give that to Peggy so she had a copy in her files.
Okay, moving on, discussion on fire department insurance from ESIP.
That's me.
That is.
So I presented a few days ago, a couple weeks ago, just a week, the emergency service insurance program. Currently you're with a company called BFIS, nothing disparaging against them. But I wanted to, met with the chief a couple of times over the course of the year, just showed him some of the highlights of what we can offer. And some of the highlights, just with the policy that I presented, are the amount of coverage you don't have compared to what would be offered. So right now, this isn't about stacking the cards against anyone, but that is why I'm here. So here's how I put it together, and I'll make it real fast. All right. So from a liability standpoint, does everyone understand when I say liability, where I'm going with that? So fire departments, big rig fire trucks, they're on the hook for a lot. They hit someone, their neck hurts, it just, things can happen. Civil suits can get, suits can go to the civil side of the court. And that being said, so currently you have a $2 million aggregate. You have $1 million per occurrence. So that means you can have two $1 million claims in a year. What I offered or proposed is a $10 million aggregate. So worst case scenario, you could have 10 $1 million claims. On top of that, just as a standard, you have an umbrella policy that I've added. It's an $8 million aggregate. What you currently have in place is an extra 1.25 million excess liability. So in the umbrella for the one that I offered is $4 million per occurrence. So why do I do the 4 and the 8? The state, for a minimum, the maximum a state, according to law, can be sued from a municipality, or a municipality can be sued is $5 million. Right now you are undercovered because of that $5 million. So they're $1 million with the general liability policy that I offered. Then the $4 million from your excess would get you that $5. Currently, from what I looked at, what I was provided, I don't see that you have any cyber security. That's a big thing right now. All the charting is done electronic. The chief, every time there's an incident, he puts all his information in the chart, it's uploaded to the cloud. The cloud is then picked that information, some national databases pick it, so forth and so on. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is you don't have any coverage there. Right now it's a big instance, pretty common, especially in the healthcare world. These hackers are shutting down healthcare systems. Oftentimes they're really not stealing anything. It's just because they don't have to. The conspiracy theorist says that just through people are testing the system. So I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying that I think sometimes there's a group of people that just like to get them with it. So the most important thing on any fire department is the men and women that do the job. Chief would have a really boring day and really wouldn't have a purpose if he didn't have any men and women that worked for him. So, that being said, the state also says volunteer firefighters are supposed to have $150,000 death benefit, because we have to be real. There could be a chance that these guys or gals are out on the interstate and they get hit by a truck, they get hit by a whatever, and they're killed on a volunteering basis. So what benefit does that mean that they have? Currently there isn't any. The state mandates that you have to have $150,000. Again, just you don't have any. So what I offered also is an additional policy. It's called an accident health policy. It offers that $150,000 benefit. I left everything with Peggy
It goes through all the details. I know you have a long meeting, so I want to cut this, kind of short, but it offers a $150,000 benefit. Again, what happens if a volunteer gets hurt while he or her are on a call? They can't go back to their full-time job. We also have in place in this policy $1,100, so what we said? Or $1,000, excuse me, $1,000 a week, tax-free for their life. This policy provides. That's tax-free. So, do the math in your head, $4,000 a month times 12 months. That's what you'd make a year if you weren't able to return or you were disabled. Plus, you'd also get, if you're on disability, you'd have to go on disability, you'd get whatever the government gives you at that point, plus whatever we get you. Again, it's tax-free. There's some other things that I could go to in detail, but I just don't think this is, you guys have a lot more things to talk about. But what I ask for you to do is to consider letting Peggy show you, or you call me, and I can tell anyone of you, the goods and the bads. I have a whole lot more goods, I think, than what you currently have. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I've been a firefighter and paramedic for 22 years before I left, went into insurance. Why you say that? I still am trying to figure that out why. But I had an opportunity to do it. Haven't looked back. So I do miss riding on the fire trucks, but now I get my kicks because I can hang out with people like Dave, talk shop, old war stories. From a pricing standpoint, Peggy, I don't know if we were able to really, we've really been challenged to try to get what you're currently paying. From a blanket standpoint, you're paying have one policy for the whole town. So we've been trying to work with EMC to break down what the fire department's cost us. We did it for the auto, we were able to provide that. But with my policy for the package, which is the cyber liability, covers all the equipment, we're about $15,200 maybe. And then with the other portion, don't quote me on that, I want to say it's maybe 47,000, or excuse me, 4,700. So just over 20,000 is going to get you compliant with the state, with having the death benefit, and there's many other things. It also comes with, an e-learning onset package that the chief can work with their risk management team. I'd be a fool if I didn't say that this also could work for police departments, whether that benefits and things of that nature. So, both companies that I work with are Provident and McNeil. They're great. They do what they do because it's what they do. It's the best that I can think of as far as coverage. Many people try to come close, but they just don't. So, and that's it. I'll get out of here. If anyone has any questions, I'll leave. Well, Dave has my number. There's some more cards. And then, in regards to the water, there's a company called First Gen. Have you ever heard of First Gen Water Solutions? They're out of Albion or Avila.
Avila. I actually emailed Dustin for you.
Great.
To get in contact.
Great guys. So. They do all the lab, the engineering.
They do training for your guys.
Anyway, thank you. Any questions? Feel free to get a hold of me. Appreciate it. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Have a good night, everyone. Approval, moving on, any comments on that, Bob, or Brittany, for now? We can address that later. Approval for ILMCT conference with State Board of Accounts.
Yeah, I would like to go to, and I'm not for sure if Heather can, but it has to do with the State Board of Accounts again. Just wanting to go to get more training.
When is that?
August,
9th through the 13th or 14th, somewhere around there. Sorry, I'm a board treasurer, should I ask that?
Oh, you're right.
Cost?
for the grand total of $1,395 for 5 days.
Does that include your hotel or just the?
Hotel and everything, that is absolutely everything.
Can I add something? So the cost for the State Board of Accounts school and her hotel would also be, able to be paid for through unappropriated funds, because it is a requirement that clerk treasurers attend the State Board of Accounts school, which is 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday. So, it's actually not even using, some of that's not even gonna be using appropriated funds for you guys. It'll be the extra that you guys have in your bank account.
I make a motion for the approval of the ILMCT conference with State Board of Accounts.
I second that.
I'll concur. Couple things we need to add on here real quick, that are not on the agenda, but we need, 2 appointments for redevelopment commission. We're recommending Scott Barnhart and Eric Schaefer. Thanks for, Eric almost raised his hand. So we have a motion for each of those.
I make a motion for, who did you say, Scott and Eric?
Yes.
I second that.
And I'll concur. Open to the, anything else you guys, Peggy, that we need to do before we open to the public? Open to the public, comments?
Yeah, I'd like to, address some recent allegations that were made against my property. At the last city council meeting, there was a lady that came in and, complained that I have, trash, junk, and rats in my backyard. I have none of that. The rats need 2 things to survive. They need habitat and they need food. I have neither of those in my backyard. I think what she's seeing are the black squirrels that are running around Ashley. And there's a reason, if she doesn't know what black squirrels are, if she's never seen them, she may mistake those for rats. The reason we have the black squirrels is because they're very extremely territorial, and they chase down the gray squirrels and the red squirrels, and they chew their testicles off so they can't reproduce. So that's why we see all the black squirrels in Ashley. The police, she did apparently file a police report. The police followed up with that. An officer came to my house. We went to the backyard, looked at the backyard. He told me that there was nothing wrong with the backyard. The chief of police also looked at his body cam footage and also said the same thing, that there was nothing wrong with my backyard. And so she also said that when she looks out her window, she sees the rats, but she can't even see my backyard from her house because she has a privacy fence. So she can't even look out her window and see my backyard. She also mentioned my race cars revving up in the middle of the night. The only race car, she's only lived there 4 months. They moved in the beginning of March. And the only race car that we've had started at my house since she moved in is my daughter's race car, and it's a Hornet, and it's all stock. It still has the stock exhaust on it. So you can't even, it sounds like a regular car. You can't even hear it run. I do have a street stock in my backyard, because that's where the police told me to put it. They said as long as it's in the backyard and they can't see it from the front of the house, it's good to go. So that's why I put it in the backyard. That one I haven't started since they moved in. She also mentioned that they bought the house because nobody else wanted to buy it because of the neighbors. But in all reality, nobody wanted to buy the house because the asking price was $300,000 for a house in Ashley. And that's why nobody wanted to buy it. So, and at the end of the meeting, she also said something about the fleas. I have a dog and a cat, and both of my animals are treated every 3 months for fleas. I don't do fleas. Fleas like me. If there's a flea anywhere in my house, it'll bite me. So I don't like fleas. So that's why I treat my animals. My yard is not infested with fleas. I did have fleas at one time right after we moved in. I bought some mulch and put mulch in my yard, and the mulch had fleas. But I have since gotten rid of all that. That was like right after we moved in. We've lived there almost 20 years. So I think we were the third or fourth house on that block that was built on the block. So we've lived here for 20 years and we've never had an issue. Never had an issue with any of our neighbors, never had an issue with the town. I did get talked to one time about the weeds in my front up by my pond, but that was actually a tree that was growing. It's a mulberry tree and it gets kind of bushy. So I took care of that. Yeah, I'm not going to change. My house has looked the same for the last 20 years. Actually, it looks better now because I've had new siding put on, I've had a new roof, and I've had new windows put in my house all in the last year from the hail damage we had. So technically, my house has newer siding and roof than her house. So I'm not the type of person, I'm not going to go spend thousands of dollars to landscape my yard. Just to do it all over again the next year. I don't have to have the perfect landscaping on my block. I have other things that I would rather spend my money on. But my house is not trash. My yard is not trash. She's got two choices. She can either deal with it or she can move out. Because I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change the way I do things. There's nothing wrong with my yard. Which brings me to my next point. I watched the video from the last city council meeting, and I can say that I was extremely disappointed at the unprofessionalism that you guys showed during that meeting. The meeting she should have been stopped when you guys found out it was violation of ordinances. She should have been stopped then, and she should have been told, you need to take that up with the police department. If the police department doesn't follow up with that, then you can come back to the city council and address it with us. Instead, you guys let her ramble on about how trashy we are for 10 minutes. And not only did you let her ramble on about how trashy we were, but you also put your 2 cents in. Mr. Thompson?
Yep.
You stated, oh, well, you should have seen the way they lived in Hudson.
No, not you, her dad.
Okay, but I
didn't say you.
You said you should have seen the way they lived in Hudson.
Well, you didn't live in Hudson.
She was talking about us. So that tells me that you were talking about us as well. I've never lived in Hudson.
I know you didn't.
And that's nothing less than slander.
No.
So nobody in this room has ever been to my house. They haven't come to check my backyard. They don't know they don't know the way we live. My house is not dirty. My house is not trash. We're not trashy people. She has a high profile job. I have a decent job. I've been at my job for 20 years. She's been at her job for 18 years. We've lived in Ashley for 20 years. Because before we had our house built, we lived over at the apartments while our house was being built. Statements like the one you made, Mr. Thompson, are detrimental to her career because she works for the health department. And it could make her job extremely difficult.
Let me ask you this. Did I say her name during the meeting?
Yes. Her name was mentioned during the meeting. Her place of work was mentioned during the meeting.
I didn't mention it. I didn't mention it.
Okay, but I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, I did not mention her name or your name during the meeting.
But the comment that you made about you should have seen the way they lived in Hudson is detrimental to her career because she's a health inspector. So if she goes out to do an inspection, and I know this lady has told everybody that she knows about it. I can already tell you she's talked to Eric Carper about it because she said that in the meeting. Eric Carper's not the only one that she's talked to about this. So she's going around telling everybody that the health inspector has rats in her backyard. So she goes out to do an inspection. These people, whoever she's inspecting, have heard about this. Oh, the health inspector's got rats in her backyard. Why should I listen to her? It makes her job difficult. So if you look up the definition of slander, you can see, and I'm sure the attorney will agree, that I have more than enough for litigation.
Against
Just-
her, maybe, I don't know, I don't.
Just
remember
against-
anything she said, but,
Well,
I don't know what, he may have the litigation against her, but I never mentioned your name.
okay, but that's not what we want. We don't want litigation. We want policies in place so that this doesn't happen to somebody else.
Well, I understand that she was directed to contact the police department.
Yes, I know, but at that point, you should have stopped her and said,
It's
We
an
can't
open
bring
meeting,
this
just
up
like
at
now,
the
I'm
meeting.
letting you ramble
Yes,
on,
I
it's an
know.
open meeting, you can voice your opinion.
I know that.
It's your constitutional God-given right.
Yes.
I'm not gonna stop you,
Okay, but.
you're the
in
one,
same
you're the
breath,
one
you
continuing,
also-
I
You
understand.
also agreed with her. and
I'm
put your
allowed to
2
agree with
cents in.
anybody, I'll agree with you.
And it's very detrimental on us. It makes us look bad.
Did the police come to your house?
Yes,
Yes.
Did they check the area?
yes,
Did they find any violations?
no.
This is an end subject, we're done.
Okay, but the rest of the public that have heard this in a meeting,
I'm glad you
They
found the
don't know
meeting, because I've yet to be able to go online and figure out where these meetings are at.
Town of Ashley. Town of Ashley YouTube.
YouTube, okay. I didn't even know it was on YouTube.
Yeah, it's Town of Ashley YouTube.
Okay.
And anybody can hear those. So the people in this room now know that the police have been to my house and there's no violations. But everybody that was watching the meeting last time, when you agreed with them that we live trashy, and the way she was talking about us then, if anybody was listening to that, they don't know. They're not gonna come to my house and check it out for themselves. They're just gonna go off of her word. So that's what we want to see, is some sort of policy put into place so that doesn't happen again. Because the next person that happens to might not be as nice as we are, and they might push for litigation. That's not what we want. We don't want that. We don't want to sue anybody. We don't want to take anybody's money. We just want to make sure that this doesn't happen again, and we want to make sure that I don't have to come in here and defend myself for these dumbass allegations that this lady's putting against us. It's absolutely absurd. If you guys go look at my house and look at my backyard, you'll understand what I'm saying when I say it's absurd. I have absolutely no place for rats to be in my yard. So that's what we want to see. We want to see some sort of policy that would take care of this type of stuff.
And I'd also like to add on that is, if she had a problem with me, I'm a very open, nice person. I treat everybody how I want to be treated. I used to have a temper, I used to have problems, but I found the Lord Jesus, thank the Lord that He has changed me. But come and knock on my door. Come and knock on my door. I invite all of you, anybody over. You want to come over and have some tea? I work 14 hours a day, but Sundays is my day off. I don't do anything on Sundays besides go to the church. Come over Sunday afternoon. I invite everybody to go to church with me. Come over after church. I will make you lunch. We'll have, it might be a little chaotic because I do have 4 older teenagers that live in my house that are in and out all the time. But I invite anybody. Come over. Knock on my door. Come in my house. I invite you over. But don't slander my name. Don't bring in my employment. That's disgraceful to me. And that hurts. It hurts me because I am an individual. If you have a problem with me, you come to me and we'll discuss it. We'll work out an issue. We'll work it out. Don't slander my name.
I have just a question too. I understand there is an ordinance about the high grass in the yards. My neighbors are about like this. And I think they mowed it once this year. And I'm just wondering if somebody could enforce that ordinance to get them to mow the yard.
Which neighbor?
The second one on the block.
Is the other neighbor?
It's the one, her house is the first one on the block, it's the second one. It's right in between us.
Mine's on the corner and it's the next one.
Kate will be there.
So
Somebody will be there tomorrow.
What?
Somebody will be there tomorrow.
Okay, that's all I need. I'll see you all later.
Okay, bye. I have a question. Like, when we're in a public meeting, are we allowed to stop anybody?
Well, I mean, the chair has some discretion, but I think the beauty of free speech, she got to give her opinion and the gentleman came in to refute it. That's the way free speech is supposed to work, correct? I don't think.
Is that considered free speech when it's?
She can say whatever she wants. If you feel you've been violated, then it becomes a civil matter between you and her.
Okay, would that also be considered false reporting?
That's a pretty tough question, because one person's opinion, another person's opinion. If they don't know the law, you can't. I can't litigate.
Reporting a crime and what you're dealing with is an infraction. That's different than a misdemeanor or a felony, so false reporting wouldn't apply to that.
Okay, we don't want any of that though. We just want.
We understand. I understand.
Be informed that, you know, there's no rats in my backyard. I don't know where they're.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Anybody else?
Can I ask you a question? The guy that was here earlier about insurance, mentioned that you don't have a cyber policy. Do you have any cyber policy for any of for anything?
That's a great question.
I don't believe so.
I don't think we do.
Okay, because Senate and Rules Act 472 went into effect last week.
Yeah, we got utility cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Do you? Okay, that's what I was really concerned about. So, yeah, let's make sure that for utility bills, especially because I know many different communities that have had attacks recently. So,
Okay. Anything else? No other comments from the public? We'll
Adjourn the town council meeting. I make a motion to adjourn the town council meeting.
I second that.
And I'll concur. We do have a redevelopment commission meeting immediately following. Paper again. This is I believe. No, that one, we didn't get the public notice out. So it's gonna have to be, we'll reschedule it, yeah. It'll probably have to be scheduled before the next one, technically scheduled. Okay, so it's myself, Dave Brand, Bob, and then Eric and oh gosh, I don't have
So, yeah, as far as we do have like some laid out. And they said right at the bottom, this is not
during this meeting, I during very well.
It is
Yeah.